involving an FBI agent who was charged today by a grand jury here in Montgomery County. We will separately move to that matter after I allow the family members on the first case to move away from the podium, and then we'll go on to that. We will take questions. I'll take questions along with the family members about either of the matters, and I'll begin first by, I'm very grateful and thankful to be joined here by Natasha Bailey. Natasha Bailey is the mother of Kamani Bailey, the victim in the homicide case I'm about to talk to you about. I'm also honored that I am joined by Kamani's sister, Camilla, who's here, his aunt, Miss George, and his grandmother, Miss Jordan, are also standing with me here today. The case was prosecuted by two extraordinary lawyers, Teresa Casafranco, who stands with me, and Jennifer Harrison. And as always, I always comment upon the fine work done by the Montgomery County Police Department, particularly the Homicide Division, and Paula Hamill was the lead investigator, and that investigator has joined us here for this press conference as well. Yesterday, Ramon Ramsey, who is now age 32, was convicted by a jury after a 6-day trial that was held before Judge Rachel McGuckian, who's a circuit court judge here in Montgomery County. The verdict rendered by that jury after their deliberation was guilty of first-degree murder of Kamani Bailey, a young man who, prior to the evening when he took his life, was unknown to him. He was a 21-year-old young man. There were two additional counts in which the defendant was found guilty of attempted first-degree murder of two young women. I'm intentionally leaving their names out of it at their request. They were friends of Kamani, and they happened to be in the downtown area of Silver Spring that particular evening when the shooting occurred. The defendant was also convicted of 4 handgun counts related to those events on that evening. The total exposure that the defendant has in terms of time for these convictions include a possible sentence of life without the possibility of parole, and that is precisely what we'll be seeking in this case. He also is facing additional life sentences because of the attempted murders of the 2 young women who were miraculously spared when the shooting occurred. The sentencing in this matter is going to take place on April the 28th at 1:30 in the afternoon. It will be before Judge McGuckian. The defendant is locked up. He's incarcerated at the Montgomery County Detention Facility. It had been prior to the trial. The defendant has a prior record. He has a prior record involving firearms on multiple occasions. He actually was serving a sentence for a drug offense where he was using release and put back into the community because of the COVID scare that we were experiencing, and many people were released at that point in time, and he got that kind of relief, and that is why he was on the street when this occurred. He was under an order of deportation as well. He was a college student. He did not know his shooter. They had been to the same club down in Silver Spring, but he was there with 2 friends. His family was from Guyana. They were celebrating in that particular night where Guyanese people were gathering in that particular establishment to celebrate something within the community, and that's why he was there. He went from the bar to his car, grabbed a gun, drove back towards the establishment he had been thrown out of. He had had no contact whatsoever with the 2 young women that he shot at, nor the young man that he killed, whose mother stands with me here today, until he opened fire at them as they were making their way to their car. The victim, whose life was taken in this case, and he was shot at by an individual who did not even know who he was, who he had never seen before. The tragedy is terrible. One of the things that I'm concerned as someone who's interested in public safety, particularly in that particular area of Silver Spring, how late we allow liquor to be served and places to be opened and gathering spots for people who know that our hours are later than many of our surrounding jurisdictions, and so therefore we become a mecca for people to come in the early hours of the morning to drink and continue to party well into, this shooting occurred at 2:45 in the morning. And basically, it's a commercial area, but it's a residential area for lots of people. Now, I will say to you, I know that we here in Montgomery County have taken some steps to try to make sure that these bars and restaurants and places are safety plans to try to keep us safer. To me, one of the biggest safety plans we could have is closing so that these things don't happen at 3 o'clock in the morning. Maybe this is an old-fashioned way of saying it, but my mother used to say to me, nothing good happens after midnight. Well, it certainly doesn't get better by 3 o'clock in the morning after you've been in a bar for many, many hours. In any instance, again, it's a tragedy to sit here with this fabulous family mourning their son, and I'm very honored that his mom is going to speak to you here today, and I'm going to ask her to step up here and make a few comments about her thoughts about what happened to her son and how this matter was handled here in Montgomery County.
This opportunity to thank the Montgomery County Law Office, the District Attorney's Office, the officers who helped in investigating my son's murder. He was just 21 years old. He was a kind and loving person, and he has lots of friends and lots of family members and co-workers that were grieving that his life was taken so soon. But I just want to say that we are all one community, and each of us has a role. We're interdependent upon each other. And this case is a classic example of that, where the police officers to make sure that he brought an officer to the spot to make sure that, you know, they take care and make sure what actually happened. And because of that, there is so many things that came out of that. So we are not alone. We all have to depend on each other. And if anything, my son's legacy, it means that he was a person that always took care of other people. And in the end, when he passed, other people took care of him that didn't know him. So I would like people to remember that we are all interconnected to one another, and we are supposed to help each other wherever we can. And that also means putting legislation in place that protect innocent people who are law-abiding, who are doing just everything they can just to be good people. So that's what I want you to remember, and I want to get that message out. A lot of her friends in the last 6 days came out, not my friends, but his friends that he's been to school and high school with. They came out to the trial and to pay respects and to make sure that justice came. And I want to thank the jurors on the trial who listened to all of the evidence, and boy, was there a lot of evidence. And I want to thank the Montgomery County government, whoever is responsible for putting in the cameras in the garage that night. It was the first night that it actually was turned on, and because of that, they were able to see who the shooter was that took my son's life, who was running away. They shot him in the back, in his head. So it's all of us that come together, even the small things that we do that will impact someone else. And losing a life is not just that one life in that family. It is, I think it's hundreds of people, because it's also people I work with that have to support me. Like when I'm here, it's people my daughter has to deal with, my mom, my sister, my brother, everybody, including the people that love my brother, my son. I say my brother, but I'm thinking about my brother. All the people that love my son. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for this, and I hope you get the word out that we are all part of the same, and we need to take care of each other all the time. That's all. Thank you.
You just can't say it better than that. I am so honored that Natasha's here and speaking on behalf of her family. Quite clearly, I guess you meet Natasha, you know what a spectacular young man her son must have been. And he was a reflection of this terrific family. And I want to thank her for her comment, because I think we have to come together. Whatever it is we're trying to make our community to be, we can only do it if we do it together. and 100% agreement with that. So thank you. Does anybody have a question for a family member or myself? Yes, sir.
For the family, so this now convicted killer, had it not been for the pandemic, would have still been locked up, should have still been locked up. How does that compound the grief and the tragedy here for you and your family?
Absolutely. It is. COVID was something that, impacted the whole community, but what we didn't expect as a community to know that people who were supposed to be in jail were going to get released into the community, and that some of these people were going to be lost because of the pandemic. There's no contact. This person was supposed to be deported, and I'm not just saying that, well, deported, they leave this community. They also can impact the community that they get deported to. So I don't advocate for that. I advocate for, if someone's done, criminal activity, that they should stay in jail. And because we have a medical pandemic, they were let out early. And he just continued to terrorize the community. And what he escalated to killing my son without any remorse. So, yeah.
And you said, like, your son, a helper until the very end, he was escorting a couple of young ladies
Yes.
for their safety to the car.
Yes,
What does that say about him and his heart and his character?
He is a beautiful boy. He was a beautiful boy. He helps everybody. So he was helping them walk into the car because he parked on the road far away from here. And so he was making sure that because there was a fight earlier in the club, he was making people around him, even unexpectedly. And I'm hoping that when it's time for the sentencing, we'll get the opportunity to talk about what it is to be a person who looks after other people, because eventually it all comes back to us. Like the energy, we believe in good energy, so you give good and you get back good. And so that's what he did, and that's who he is. He had integrity, he had a great character, he was a loving person.
It sounds like you were here for the trial.
Yes, I was here every day.
What was it like for you just sitting through that evidence, sitting through the arguments and everything?
It goes back to the hard work that the detective did, and hard work that DAs have done to make sure that the case was a really solid case. They had so much evidence. They worked really hard, and we were just so grateful of the work that they put into it, so that this person cannot go terrorize the community and harm someone else. So sitting there, we were just grateful. We were grateful to the jurors. Like, all 15 showed up every single day. That means the 12 plus the alternates. I mean, I'm so grateful. I felt like he was in the room, and people felt his energy, and they wanted to show up. I know that sounds weird, but that's how I felt.
And your name?
My name is Natasha Jordan Bailey.
Thank you. Spell it, please.
Natasha, Natasha, Jordan, Jordan, Bailey, Bailey.
And where was your son was a college student at the time?
Yes.
Where was he attending?
He was an IT student at Prince George's County Community College. Thank you.
IT, you said?
IT.
And sir, if you could, just in the same line, you mentioned the extra hours that the bars and the lounges are open. In addition to that, again, on the release of someone who had a gun charge, a violent charge being released, I know it's the pandemic, but what are your thoughts on that? And in fact, there are probably others who had charges like that.
Look, I was here as state's attorney during those periods of time. We were getting release requests, maybe as many as a dozen to 2 dozen every day, for prisoners who are being held uniquely here in Montgomery County, because of the challenges. I think those were challenges that we dealt with as an entire community, and obviously there were some people that were released at that point in time, this being a classic example of that, they deported, that was not served.
Where was he supposed to be deported to?
Jamaica. So, thank you very much. I'm going to ask the family to be excused, and if anybody wants to have any inquiry about the Valdivia matter, we'll start that in about 1 minute.